inshallah ta'ala. صفحة أي صفحة يا إخوان page 30 I believe 30 واحدة وثلاثين 31 طيب from 29 to 31 طيب أنا أسألكم وأنتم تجيبون. So I'm going to ask you وأنا أقول بالعربية وأنتم تقولونها بالإنجليزية. I'll say in Arabic, you say in English. طيب الدرس يصعب قليلا فأكثر الناس يغيبون. So now the class is getting harder and harder, so the class is shrinking. طيب طيب who's first? Sheikh Mustafa. قبيح 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 ما كبير قبيح قبيح لا بأس. خبر شيخ قبيح كبير قبيح قبيح نا كبير نا دنوس قبيح that's قصير قبيح عبد المالك قبيح يوسف قبيح شيخ عبد الوالي قبيح قبيح our sister قبيح hey ugly nasty قبيح 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 رحاء قبيح قبيح ugly nasty opposite of جميل opposite of beautiful سماء خادم 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 a servant a servant a servant طيب مصطفى نظيف نظيف clean أحسنت ساعة 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 time can also be Yusuf a watch can also be Abdul Malik can also be Abdul Wali a clock time clock can also be hour can also be we learned a lot sa'a can also be a watch can also be al-an right now can also be right now it can also be yawm al-qiyamah. All right, we can move the sisters a little closer so they can see. Ikhwan, someone help the sisters out so they can. The sheikh got it. Alhamdulillah. طيب. Whose turn? Na'am. Sama. Na'am. Yes. Whose turn? Brother Ali. La. No. Jamilan. Mahallun. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to take a moment, move the sisters a little closer here, Ikhwan, so they can see the board. Once again, we apologize for the distance. We try our best. What was the word? Mahallun. Mahallun. It could be a store. Could be a store. A place. A place. Every store is a mahal, but not every mahal is a store. Mahal is a place. It's loosely translated to be a store. It doesn't mean store, but you could use it as a store. It's a place. Any place is a mahal. You can call the masjid a mahal. A place. Any place. طيب. حاضر. Sheikh Mustafa. حاضر. حاضر. That's close. حاضر. Not hot, like not hot, but حاضر. Present. Ready. Available. طيب. One of our sisters. Baqaratun. Baqaratun. A cow. MashaAllah. طيب Yusuf. Bustanun. Bustanun. MashaAllah. Yusuf did his homework. Garden. Orchard. Brother Ali. Rijlun. Rijlun. Shin or leg. Not feet, but shin. Leg. Your lower leg. Sheikh Abdul Wali. Qadamun. Qadamun. A foot. Jamilah. طيب سمع عروس. عروس. Bride can also mean groom. Jamilan. What's your name again? Yasin. Jamilan. Khalifatun. Khalifatun. Ali. A leader. Muslim leader. طيب نبدأ إن شاء الله. Let's start our lesson يا إخوان. توقفنا عند جملة حادية عشرة. I believe the last sentence we did was 11. ومن كمل الواجبات, who did all of the homework from 11 to 20? 1, 2, 2 brothers. All of the sisters. Alhamdulillah. Half the sisters, 2 of the brothers. Little by little يا إخوان. Remember يا إخوان, العربية والعربية علينا أن نعطيها كلنا. إذا نعطيها كلنا لا نستقبل منها إلا بعضها. فإذا نعطيها بعضنا لا نستقبل منها شيئا. Remember the Arabic language يا إخوان. If you give her the Arabic language, all of yourself, you're only going to get some of her. You give all of yourself to Arabic, you're only going to get a portion. You're never going to get all of the Arabic. It's impossible. You're not going to memorize every word of Arabic. It's impossible. Right. So how much more so if you want to give yourself 3 days a week? The way we're studying, we hope Allah Ta'ala la yu'adhibuna, doesn't punish us. We hope. But 3 days a week, we're not happy with 3 days a week. Yeah, just like going to the gym. The brother goes there, he does 1 jump. He leaves. He does 1 push-up. The girl gets on that step thing. I call it the little girly machine. She gets up on that thing and do 1 step up. She leaves. You're not going to increase your heart rate. You're not going to shed no pounds. How much more so studying something? 3 days a week in America, la yakfi abadan. It's never going to be enough. But it's a start. So we hope Allah Ta'ala pardons us. We hope Allah forgives us. But this is a start. This is not our goal. We'll be happy, inshallah. We're studying Arabic regularly, more often, more consecutively, especially in the West. Most of the Jumu'ah is in English. Most of the classes are in English. Most of the conversation of the Muslims, even in the Masjid, is in English. We go home, English. At work, English. Amongst the brothers, English. The sisters, English. When are we going to learn Arabic? So we have to be more diligent, more diligent. So we're not going to do the homework once again. Later on, you'll see, Ikhwan. Arabic is something that you want to try your best not to be lazy. You're never going to learn anything lazy. And you're never going to learn anything when you're too comfortable. So sometimes you have to make the juhud. You have to exhaust yourself. The same way we can do it for the dunya, we can do it for Allah and His Messenger. Right, let's continue, Ikhwan. Number 12. Man yaqra'uha. Who can read sentence number 12 with the loud voice? We did it, 11, afwan. Number 11. Ahada ashar. Fadal. Sheikh Ali, loud voice. Dimashqu mahallun harrun. You killed it, huh? Dimashqu. Oh, mashallah, Yusuf, student of the day today. And we just began. Allahu Akbar. Dimashqu mahallun harrun. Harrun. Dimashqu mahallun harrun. Man yutarjimuha. Who can translate that, ya ikhwan? Say it again, Ali. The land of Damascus is hot. تقربت, close. Damascus is a hot place. Arsent. Damascus is a hot place. The best book to get to help translate these words, these sentences, these exercises is what book? The key is the book itself.
I have the key, but it's not translatable because I don't know how to connect the alphabet.
See, the key also, the key is the way you could check. It also has some benefit in there too. It can help you. But I wouldn't recommend another book to help you with the homework of this book. The best way, Ikhwan, is what we're lacking in now, is memorizing the vocabulary. The best way, Ikhwan, and this is the hard part, especially when you're still learning your letters. Now, I understand this point. So for Yusuf and some of the sisters, some of the brothers, they have a little excuse because they're still memorizing the letters. But don't do like most students, and by the time you memorize your letters, so much benefit done passed you by. You can work on two things at the same time. You can learn how to pray and learn my Aleph Ba Ta. You can come to Quran class while I'm still memorizing Aleph Ba Ta. Everything is connected. You just got to be diligent. You got to put forth the effort. So yes, it's a double. I'm learning my Aleph Ba Ta, so most likely I can't read the word. That's fine. But you still can try to memorize the words too. You could do that. And the beginning is going to be hard. Some of the brothers and sisters, they have a little excuse because they're still memorizing the letters. That's okay. If they be consistent and be patient, later on, they're going to be the best in the class, inshallah. But yes, you got to do double right now. So you got to continue to learn your letters, but you got to try to memorize the vocab too, ya ikhwan. That's why we go over every class, for example. But you got to go home and do the work, for example. If we're not going to do the work, we're not going to benefit the way we think, ya ikhwan. Sentence number 2, number 11. Dimashq. So while you're memorizing your letters, I might not can read the words. That's fine. But when I memorize the vocabulary words, I might not can read it because I'm still learning. So I can't read this. I don't know the raw yet. The more I learn my letters, I'm never going to read nothing until I memorize my letters. That's number 1. I can tell you what the word is if I memorized it, but reading it is something else. I can't read without learning my letters. So I have to learn my letters first. That's the foundation. But then still I can memorize the sound of the word, what the meaning of the word is. So don't get too down or don't get too behind. But you still, one of the easiest ways to learn the letters is to write them. Write each letter. It sounds like a lot. We mentioned previously, write each letter 50 times. That sounds like a lot. I'm not doing that, Yahi. They crazy as Habul Yameen. I'm not doing that. That's a lot. I remember my one companion, one of the best brothers I ever met. He said, Yahi, what do you do to memorize? Give me a key. Give me something you do. I said, okay, take every word, write it 100 times. He said, I'm not doing all that. I said, why are you asking me? Like, everybody's different. The goal is, however you memorize, you memorize. The goal is you memorize. The kayfiyatul hifz yakhtalifu min shakhs ila shakhs. How you learn, how she learns, how I learn, differs from person to person. That's not the goal, the how. The goal is that you memorize it. One of the easiest ways to learn the letters, ya ikhwan, is to go back to grade school. One of the best exercises, we saw that same drill again overseas. We learned that in middle school, Allahu Akbar, in Philly. When you take the word, write the word 50 times. It's going to stick with you longer. No matter how strong your memory is, alhamdulillah, it's going to stick with you. Take Aleph. Try it, ikhwan. You'll be done in a week. If you're sincere and you're diligent. The reason we don't apply ourselves religiously, number 1, I won't say that. One of the reasons is because we haven't put the value of the knowledge at the head of everything. Before my job, before my wife, before my husband, before my children, before my community, before. Firstly is myself, Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah's going to question me first about me and my errors, my mistakes, my bad choices, my sins, and the likes. First and foremost. Then the people who are under you. But first, you have to take that knowledge, and you have to love that knowledge. You have to desire that knowledge. You have to see the worth in that knowledge. And then you have to try to be diligent. If you don't do that, we're never going to be diligent of seeking knowledge. We don't see the virtue of it. Another benefit, ya ikhwan, and this is my opinion, we don't see the haja fi durusina fi lugat al-Arabiyyah. Because most of us, and it's sad to say, we don't see that we need Arabic. We still look at Arabic as something that I do in my pastime. No, you need Arabic, ya ikhwan. As we mentioned before, بدون تعليمنا اللغة العربية سنكون مقلدين سنكون محتاجين إلى شخص ليترجم لنا ديننا وهذا خطير جدا. Without Arabic, I may not see it as any sheikh you wish. Don't take my word. As any student of knowledge you wish. Don't take my word. That's not my Islam. I didn't learn that. Take my word, take my word, take my word. I teach my own children. Don't say because Abby said. Don't do that. Our own women. Don't say because I said. No, I'm going to show you why I said that. By Allah's mercy. The Prophet of Allah Ta'ala said. That's different. Tayyib, if you don't think we're in need of Arabic, without Arabic, we're going to be blind followers. What's my proof? I don't know what the brother is saying to be true or not. I'm just taking his word. I'm not going to go back and check it. He said the hadith is in the Tirmidhi. I don't feel like doing that. I'm taking what he's saying. The Imam said the verses and such. I don't feel like checking it out. Without Arabic, ya ikhwan, we're always going to be in need of someone to translate for us our religion. And that's dangerous. يقول الله تعالى في سورة يوسف. Allah Ta'ala says, قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن تبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين. Allah Ta'ala says, say, O Muhammad, this is my path. I call to it me and those who are with me. Ala basira. We'll come back to this word. Upon knowledge and insight and certainty. Me, وَمَنَ تَبَعَنِي, and those who are with me. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. And glory belongs to Allah. I am not from the polytheists. How can I call to the religion of Allah with knowledge if I don't know? How can I be certain Allah is the most merciful if I don't know? So we have to see the worth of Arabic. Without the Quran, how can I be Muslim? Without Arabic, how can I understand the Quran? Without the Sunnah, how can I follow the guidance? Without Arabic, how can I follow the Hadith? The Quran is in Arabic. When you read the translation, we don't want to offend no one. We hope that we nushaji'ukum ala khayr. We encourage you upon goodness. It's not to make no one feel bad, unless making you feel bad is better. We don't want to make no one feel bad, unless making you feel bad is better. We just want to increase and to encourage each other upon goodness. Without Arabic, when I read the translation, I'm not reading Quran. Without Arabic, when I read the hadith in English, I'm not reading the hadith. I'm reading the translation of the hadith. So when the sister says, Allah says in the Quran, by the time, verily mankind is in a state of loss, except those who believe and perform actions of righteousness and exhort one another to truth and exhort one another to patience, Surah Al-Asr, she just committed a sin. Why do I say that? What's the sin? She just lied. Who did she lie upon? Allah. When she says, the brother comes now, and he says, the messenger of Allah said, Ya akhi, when the sisters walk past, now everybody's a sheikh. So now they're there, minding their business. We're talking amongst ourselves. The brother, the Prophet of Allah said, all actions are based upon intentions. Hadith is narrated by Umar, collected by Bukhari and Muslim. He just committed a sin. Why? What did he do? He lied on the messenger of Allah. How did he lie on the messenger of Allah, Abdul Malik?
He didn't say it in Arabic.
He said something the Prophet didn't say. And he said the Prophet said. So that's why it's so important, ya ikhwan, that we try our best. We don't have to be great imams in Arabic. Allah doesn't ask us to do that. We don't have to be great students of knowledge in Arabic. Allah doesn't ask us to do that. We have to try our best to put forth the effort to learn to the best of our ability the Arabic language. Someone give the brother a chair, ya ikhwan, so he doesn't have to sit on the floor. So let's continue, inshallah. Number 12. Make space, ya ikhwan. Once again, we apologize. The sisters are so far. We try our best. I still think, ya ikhwan, in the daytime classes, being on the sides is better because we don't have to keep worrying about the glare. It's daytime, ya ikhwan. The sun is going to come through the window, alhamdulillah. So if we're going to stand here, we're going to have the issue of the glare. If we go to the side, we're not going to worry about that issue, alhamdulillah. In the nighttime class, we can stand anywhere you wish. But in the daytime, it makes no sense, ya ikhwan, to stand in the front because we're going to always contend with one of the greatest creations of Allah. Now it's okay because we already settled. We'll try our best. But tomorrow, ya ikhwan, if we're going to have class in the daytime, let's set it up there. As the sun is, unless there's nothing we can do about the window, so let's move the class like we did the one morning over there. Inshallah. Mm.
You got the shadow.
Yes.
You can't see and the glare.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, online.
Online.
Okay.
We can't turn the light up there?
I don't know if that's the key. We can move it like into the shadow here. So, for now,
Okay.
try it. No, the sun is coming. It's coming this way.
Oh, طيب. Now y'all can't see. طيب. Once again, we just try our best here, ikhwan. May Allah bless you all. طيب, number 12. طيب, number 11 was Dimashqu mahallun harrun. Damascus is a hot place. ما هو الموضوع? What's the مبتدئ? What's the subject? Damascus. طيب. أين الموصوف? Where is the noun that's being described? محل. محل. Page 31. محل is the موصوف. Where is the sifa? The noun that's describing? حر. طيب. عندكم أسئلة عن هذه? You guys have questions about number 11? تفضل. No. Number 12. Loud voice. تفضل. طيب. Number 12. الدار. Say it again. الدار بعيدة والشمس شديدة والشمس شديدة شديدة. طيب من يترجمها? Who can translate? Louder. The house is far. وَالشَّمْسُ شَدِيدًا, and the sun is strong, fierce. Maybe the rays of the sun. Hot, not hot here. Shadida. Not harra, but like fierce. It's really talking about the rays of the sun. Real strong, real fierce. Also, dar could also be what? Not house, but the homeland, the origin of where you're from. So this could be the house, or this could be the homeland, the land that you're from. Two things you can have for number 12, the house or the homeland. The word dar على حسب سياق الجملة. It depends on how it's used. You can say namshi fi dar, I'm going home. And I can mean what? Your homeland. Or I can mean what? The house. How are you really going to know? It depends on the context of how it's being used. The structure. Right? Number 13. Question number 1. الشمس مذكر أو مؤنث. The word shams, مذكر أو مؤنث. Masculine or feminine? مؤنث. Why is it feminine? Because hey, it's a feminine word, but why is it feminine? It's sunlight. Mustafa says life comes out of it. What else? It's, The word is describing as feminine, not in this one. Why is the word? The sun letters, close. The sun is geographical. طيب. How do you know? Two weeks ago. Who goes over their homework? Mustafa. It's feminine because the Arabs, for whatever reason, they didn't mention yet. In the Arabic language, the Arabs, this is a word that for whatever reason is feminine. Not every word we know why they use it like that. Sometimes they have taught us, sometimes they haven't. This is an example of the word shams doesn't have a feminine meaning. Sun. The word shams, shakluha laysa mu'annathan. The shape of it is not feminine. Our sister gave a good point. It has a sun letter. Yes, that's true. We skipped that, alhamdulillah, because most of you can read already. You guys learned the sun letters and the moon letters before. What does that mean? What does that mean? Now, what's the meaning of that? Not the translation. What does it mean, sun letters? What does it mean, moon letters? And reading it, Juan, I skipped this because it seemed like all of you could read except a few. So we skipped over that. Nobody mentioned that skip until today. Hold on. I don't know her point here. She would have to answer that. But her question or her point sparks another point. We skipped that benefit. The reason I skipped that benefit in the page because most of you are already reading. So I assume that you all learned that already. This is Habul Yameen. I heard about Habul Yameen from years ago. So I thought they learned their moon letters and their sun letters already. May Allah help us all. All right, what does it mean, the sun letters? What does it mean, the moon letters? Our sister says, say it again, raise your voice. The sun letters are what? What do they do? They could. But the sun letters and the moon letters have one main benefit. Someone mentioned it earlier. The sun letters, ya ikhwan, the sun letters, al-huruf or huruf shamsiyya. Write this down, ya ikhwan. For the book, if you go back to, let me see, Sheikh. Go back to chapter 1. Page number 15 on the right hand side of the page. At the bottom. Not 15. Who said 15? Sorry, we'll come back to it inshallah. It's in chapter 1 somewhere near Ikhwan. Or chapter 2. Go to chapter 2, Sheikh. Chapter 2. I don't think it's before that one. Yeah, anyone found it yet? Chapter 1 or 2?
Page 1.
22? 22, chapter 2. On the left hand side. The huruf al-shamsiyya. Write this down, ikhwan. Al-huruf al-shamsiyya. It's in your book. Huruf al-shamsiyya. The sun letters. The sun letters. Al-huruf al-shamsiyya. The sun letters. What did we learn about the shape? Here they look what? Al-huruf al-shamsiyya. Alif lam, alif lam. They look just alike. So one is the mawsuf, one is the sifa. Which one is the mawsuf? Ali? Al-huruf, the noun that's being described. Al-shamsiyya is describing it. In English, say the sun letters. The main benefit of the sun letters and the main benefit of the moon letters, the second category is called al-huruf al-qamariyya, the moon letters. Their benefit is one. Al-huruf al-qamariyya, the moon letters. Al-qamariyya, the sun letters, the moon letters. This just teaches you one thing. Some letters, when alif or lam comes before it, you skip the lam and you go right to the next letter. Some letters, when the alif or lam is there, for example here, you say al-ha. First word, alif, lam, second letter, ha. Al-huruf. Focus on the ha. Al-hurufu. The ha, since you pronounce the lam in front of it, is a qamariyya. The ha is a moon letter. All that means is if the lam comes before these letters, you pronounce that lam. طيب. الرجل. طيب. That's the second point. Keep that for 1 minute. طيب. The word is, all of you have that, huruf al-shamsiyya, huruf al-qamariyya. It's on your page in your book, page 22 on the left. Huruf al-qamariyya, huruf al-shamsiyya. طيب. I don't have a lot of space, so I'm going to take some of mine away. Main benefit, ya ikhwan. Once you memorize your letters, we're not picking on the people, we're just showing the importance of memorizing your letters. You have to learn your letters, not the names of them. It's not important. The sound they make. Knowing their names is not important. Alif, ba, ta, tha. That's not as important as you think. Knowing the sound she makes is the most important. طيب. So now we have, for example, ha. And then we have ra. Then we have sheen. طيب. If the lam comes before the ha in a word, you recite that lam. If the lam comes before the ra in a word, you don't recite that lam. If the lam comes before the sheen in a word, you don't recite that lam. طيب. So some letters are qamariya. All qamariya means they could use any word. Just the Arabs being intelligent, being wise. They just use the word that you have to pronounce the lam. And the word al-qamar, you hear the lam. And the word ash-shams, you don't hear the lam. So they chose a word for the letters that you don't hear the lam, that begins with the letter that you don't hear the lam. And the qamar, they chose a word that you have to hear the lam. So that was eloquent also. All this means, ya ikhwan, in short, is that some letters, if alif or lam comes before them, you don't hear the lam. Not the alif, the lam. Write this word down, ya ikhwan. Ar-rajulu. 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 Write this word down. Ash-shamsu. 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 Right. What don't you hear? Listen to my words. Ar-rajulu. Ar-rajulu. You don't hear the lam. It's like the lam is not there. You know when your wife burns the rice, she tried her best. She burnt that rice. It's like the rice, it's not there, silent. When the man tries to cook, he can't cook no better. He tries, she cooks all the time, he tries his best. Here you go. He burnt it. So it's like it's not there. Ash-shamsu. What letter don't you hear? Ash-shamsu. Ash-shamsu. You skip the lam. You read it like it's not there. It's there, but you don't hear it. It's silent. Why is it silent? Why is it silent? Because of what? Because it's the letter that comes after it. Not talking about the lam itself, no. The letter that comes after the lam is a shamsiyah. All this means is that you skip that lam and go right to that next letter. Ar-rajulu, the R, the ra is a shamsiyah. Could be. That has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with alif wa lam, tanween. But if it has a tanween, it won't have alif wa lam anyway. So if it's only talking about if it's ma'rifah, if it has alif wa lam. Tfadal. Tfadal. If the book is a modern book, remember the books of today are different than the books of the past. In the books of the past, there are no vowels. There are no vowels. This is for the new Muslim, the non-Arab began to embrace Islam. The Arab, he knows his language. There's no vowels, there's no dhamma, there's no kasra, there's no sukoon, there's no shadda. The way the Quran is now is not how it was back in the day. So the books of today are written differently than the books of the past. That's the benefit of the books of today. They have the vowels. The Arabs don't need that, ya ikhwan. We need that. The non-Arab, we embrace Islam. We don't know if that's a fatha or dhamma or kasra. We don't know the grammar. So they make it easy. They write the books with the vowels. So if your book is a modern book, it's going to have a shadda. But not every book has a shadda. طيب. That's just to help the reader. Write this next word down. Al-masjidu. Who can translate? That's Arabic. Who can translate? The mosque. Masjid is Arabic. Write this word there, Ikhwan. Al-qamaru. Who can translate? The moon. MashaAllah. Al-qamaru. Alright, listen to when I say it. What letter do you hear now? Al-masjidu. Al-masjidu. You hear the lam. Al-qamaru. Al-qamaru. Lam. So the word shamsiyah is just any word that begins with one of the letters of the group that you don't hear the lam. So shams is a good word. Al-Qamariyya, they could use any word that begins with the letter that you have to hear the lam. So the Qamariyya, Al-Qamariyya are those letters that if they come after the lam, you hear the lam. Ash-Shamsiyya are those letters, if they come after the lam, you don't hear the lam. Fadda. Hey. Hey, that's important. That's a good point, Ikhwan. You ever see how a lot of the Muslims nowadays we read, but without knowing, someone mentioned this one day, the grammar. Yes, grammar is extremely important. Without grammar, we're going to make a lot of mistakes in our speech. But there's a place to learn grammar. You remember when Sheikh Mustafa mentioned that high-level book? And we said, that's years later, Ikhwan. We can't even do our homework yet. Only 2 brothers did their homework, a few sisters did their homework, and we're in our first month. And we still haven't done half the brothers yet. We don't want all the brothers to play. Not that we don't want. We don't expect all of the brothers to do the homework. We don't expect that. But we will hope at least half of us do the work. That's it. If half of us do the work, we're going to benefit tremendously. At any rate, if there's a time for grammar, there's a time for grammar. So we're going to go as the book goes, step by step. Like in everything. You don't memorize the Quran in one go. You don't memorize the surah right now. If you do, that's awesome. But you go surah 10, surah, ayah by ayah, word by word. Same thing in Arabic. So in short, al-qamariyya ash-shamsiyya. If you memorize, let me see a book, the first list, we'll make it easy. If you memorize the first half, if you memorize all the twin letters, you know the twin letters, Ikhwan? You guys don't know the twin letters? Twin letters. You know twins? Letters that look alike. Twins. Al-huruf al-mutashabiha, the letters that are similar, like the ra and the za, the ta and the tha, the sin and the sheen, the sa and the da, the ta and the da. You memorize all of them, they are all shamsiyya, all the twin letters. And then you add the lam. Memorize the twin letters. What's the twin letters here, Ikhwan? You see how we need Arabic? Maybe we'll start doing our homework more, inshallah. The shadda, indication of what? Yeah, it's a sign that's letting you know an easy way that this letter, you skip the lam. I'll give you an easy way, Ikhwan. Write this down. Someone, inshallah, memorize this point. The letters al-mutashabiha, those letters al-mutamathila, those letters that look alike. Right? Memorize all of them. Sama. No, that's my own way to make it easy. The sun letters are the letters, we gave that meaning already. Who can summarize? What's the sun letters? Who's paying attention? Who's not on there? what's that? Come on, ya ikhwan. Hey, the sun letters Samad are the letters that when they come after lam, you don't pronounce the lam. That's it. Yeah, I'm making it easy. You asked about the meaning. The meaning of the Shamsiyah are not letters that look alike. And the list of the Shamsiyah are mainly the letters that look alike. You guys with me? Play it. Memorize this in Quran. From the Shamsiyah. All you got to do is memorize one group of them. You don't got to memorize both groups. You can, but you don't have to. If you learn what the Sunnah is, you learn what innovation is. You don't have to memorize all the different groups of innovation. You don't have to learn about the Ash'ira, the Jahmiyyah, the Tablighiyya. You don't have to learn about the Jaburiyya. You can. You don't have to. Be strong in the Sunnah. Anything that opposes that is false. That's it. Make it easy. You don't got to memorize what this group says and that group says, and you can, but you don't have to. Make it easy. Learn the Sunnah. Whatever contradicts the Sunnah is not correct. That's it. Shamsiyah and Qamariyah. You can memorize all the letters and then break them down. Shamsiyah, Qamariyah, that's awesome. But we got to do the homework first. That's number one. Ta'ih, I'll give you an easier way. Just take one of the two groups and memorize them. The remaining of the letters are the other group by default. There's only 4 masajid in this city or this area. If I'm not here, I'm at one of the other ones by default. Make it easy. Ta'ih, write these down, ikhwan. The ones that look alike. Let's start off with them. First scene. Her brother, Sheen. You guys with me? So after the scene in Sheen, we have Saad and Bod. Saad, her twin, Bod, look just like her, but has a dot. Scene, Sheen, Saad, Bod. Further. The sheen from the Saad, one of the best ways is, as I mentioned earlier, take each letter. You brothers and sisters memorizing your letters, try it. Do it, ya ikhwan. It's not as long as it sounds. It's going to take you 10 minutes. Try it. Only thing it's going to hurt is your wrist. That's it. Afterwards, you're going to appreciate it. You're going to come back, mashallah, ya akhi, alhamdulillah, I learned my letters. What did you do? I wrote them all 50 times. My hand is on fire, but I know them now. Alhamdulillah. So the sheen and the saw, they don't look alike, but you. Okay. Sometimes where the sound comes from in your mouth, we could be wrong. The makhraj. A word that we say a lot that we jack up, number one, is the word masjid. Many of us pronounce the word masjid incorrectly. And it's not to talk about no one, ya ikhwan. We all do it. The word is masjid. Al-mas. Mas. But some of us mistakenly pronounce this seen as a sheen. We say mash, mash, mash. It's mass, mass. It's a seen. Another thing that many of us do when we give the salutations to the Prophet. Remember, Arabic is already fast. So I don't have to make it fast. It's already fast. So sometimes we say the Prophet's name and we say the Prophet sallam, the Prophet sallam, 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 and then the Arab is offended. They keep jacking my language. The Arab, They jealousy of their language, and we all should be jealous of Arabic. That's our religion, or it's from our religion. So we say the Prophet sallam, sallam, sallam. That's not a word. But I'm saying it so fast, so fast. When a sister walking past, you try to tell the brother, ikhwanana, ikhwanana, and we say it like iguanana, iguanana. And the sister that knows some Arabic, she say, hey, did he just call me an iguana? Because it sounds like he said iguana. But he's trying his best. But sometimes we have to learn also where the letters come from, to the best of our ability. So little by little, inshallah, ya ikhwan. But maybe in the pronunciation, going back to this question of the sheikh, we said it wrong. So that's why the person wrote Saad, because it sounded like we said Saad. If you know your letters, you can write behind someone if they're saying it correctly. Right? So let's get back to our last point, ya ikhwan, of this exercise that our sister brought up. Right. What's another twin letter? We have the Saad, and now we have the Bad. Another, say it again. Good. The Ra is the next one. Ra, her twin, Za. There are two ways to pronounce the Za. You're not wrong there. Some scholars say Zay. Some scholars say Za. Sometimes that's a mispronunciation. Sometimes it's your country. Sometimes it's your tribe. Sometimes in Pakistan, they have a slight incorrect pronunciation. Some places in Africa have a slight incorrect pronunciation. At any rate, this word or this letter, you can say it one or two ways. Za or Zay. They both are allowed. Za or Zay. Za is the strongest. But some people do teach Zay. So now we have the Sin, Sheen. Sad, Bad. This letter here is not in English. This letter is not in English. English, 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 English. Play it. These two sounds here, pay attention. We don't have them in English. The Arabic language used to be called the language of the Bad. The scholars will say, oh, you're studying the language of the Bad. Only language in the world so far that has this sound. There are two ways to pronounce it. I don't want to get into that. It's going to take too much of the time. The Bad, you can take the side of your tongue and put it to the root of your teeth on the right side. You can also take the side of your left tongue and put it to the root on your left side. Two different ways. And the last way is that you take your tongue, if you have if your tongue is a nice size tongue, you could take the tips of both of your tongue at the same time and put it there. That's how Omar used to recite it. And that makes the best sound. So two ways to recite the Bad. At any rate, what's the next one, ya ikhwan? Ra, Za. Two more twins. Ayn is one. Al-Ayn, Al-Ghayn. Type, skip Ayn and Ghayn. They're not Shamsiyah. Fa and Qaf. Skip them. That's not Sham. Not all of the twin letters I mentioned. Most of the twin letters. Dal and Dal. Ad-Daru. Skip the Dal and the Dal. Sad and Bad, we have them. Ba and Ta. Al-Zahid. Skip the Ba. Skip the Ta. What else is left? That's it. So we have Sin, Sheen, Sad, Ba, Ra, Za. Also add the Lam. The Lam is by herself, no twin for the Lam. But add the Lam to this list. The Lam is a Shamsiyah. I'm skipping some, ikhwan. The Noon, An-Nuru. The Noon is there. No. The Noon is there. Al-Waw. Skip the Waw. Waw was a Qamariyah. Huh? Alif. Allah. The Alif is a Qamariyah. Dal, Ad-Daru. No, Dal is a good one. Dal and Dal. They're there. Cool? So we have Sin, Sheen, Sad, Ba, Ra, Za, Dal, Dal. One more 20, ikhwan. Ta and Tha. Al-Thawru. Tha is there. Good. Ta. Give me a word that starts with a Ta, ya ikhwan. At-Tahiyatu. Good. Ta is there. And her twin is Tha. So not every twin, but most of the twins Sin, Sheen, Sad, Dad, Ra, Za, or Zay, Dal, Dal, Ta, Tha, Ya. Give me a word that starts with Ya, ya Ikhwan. Al Yaqinu, no, Yaz Qamariya. Yasin, no Alif Lam. Yahya, no Alif Lam. Al Yawmu, good. Yawm is Qamariya. Yaz Qamariya. طيب. We added the La, we added the Noon. طيب. Someone check the list. I think this is all of them, ya Ikhwan. If you memorize these ones, the remaining ones are Qamariya. So you don't have to memorize both lists. The easiest is the Shamsiyah. And to learn what to do, what do we have? Dha, al-Dhahir, and Ta. Good, good. Maybe I didn't hear you, Afwan. Dha, we start off with Ta, and her brother, Dha. Hamza. Hamza's not there. Hamza's Qamariya. What's the letter that begins with a word that begins with Hamza, ya Ikhwan? Al-insanu. Al. Eh. The Hamza there, Al-insan, that's a Hamza. So Hamza is on the Qamariya side. Did I miss? That's all, ya Ikhwan? Sin, Sheen, Sad, Ba, Ra, Za. We got the Lam and the Noon. They're by themselves, no twins. Dal, Dal, Ta, and Tha, twins. Ta and Ba. Ain and Ghain, Qamariya. No? I think that's it. Like, memorize all of these, and you learn the Shamsiyah. What Shams? Huh? Ba Qamariya, not Ba. If you learn these, all these means if a lam precedes them, you don't pronounce the lam, you skip it. That's it. Hold on. It may be. I feel like I'm missing one, ya Ikhwan. Someone check my memory. I got 14. Alhamdulillah. Shukran. Let's get some more benefit, ya Ikhwan. So I skipped that day, assuming that you guys, some of you told me I've been studying Arabic for years and years and years. I thought, and also I could see most of you can read already, so I skipped that. Next sentence, number 12 was ad-daru ba'idatun wa shamsu shadida. Someone translated that one. Number 13, who can recite with a loud voice? Al-jaddu mayyitun. MashaAllah. Who can translate? The grandfather is dead. He passed away. We hope he died as a Muslim. Al-jaddu mayyitun. Brother, somebody has something? Al-jaddu mayyitun. Al-jaddu mayyitun. The grandfather died. Al-jaddu mayyitun. ما هو الموضوع? What's the subject? Al-jaddu. So al-jadd will be the mubtada. Mayyitun will be the khabar. We'll get to that later. That's just a benefit. Number التي بعد, the next sentence. 14. 14. Who can read with a loud voice? Good. Al-khadimatu hadiratun. Hadiratun or alif wal lam? No blue, huh? So we take that blue away. Al-khadimatu. Who can translate? Male servant or female? So translate it again. Huh? Masculine or feminine servant? The female servant is present or ready or available. Right. Whose turn for the grammatical question? Abdul Malik. لماذا استخدمنا حاضرة? Why do we use حاضرة and not حاضر? Why is it feminine? Huh? Why is it feminine? Someone else here, Ikhwan? Brother Ali, why is it حاضرة and not حاضر? Because خادمة or خادمة is mu'annath, is feminine. You guys with me? طيب. Next sentence. Who can read with a loud voice? شجرة طويلة. Good. Try it again. Good. Good. شجرة طويلة. Who can translate? A tall tree. Why is it not the tree is tall? No alif wal lam. What's the subject? What's the mawdu' al-jumla? What's the subject of the sentence? Shajara? Close. You're going farther away. Come back to you. Come back to the boat. What's the subject? A tree. Taqarrabti, close. Tall, farther away. Only 2 words. Y'all said that, ya Ikhwan, how many times? The subject here is a tall tree. A tall tree. This one is not a complete sentence. It's a phrase. A tall tree. A tall tree what? You're still waiting. A tall tree. What about the tall tree? A tall tree is my favorite tree. Alhamdulillah. A tall tree is where I go to review Quran. Alhamdulillah. Fadda. I forgot my ta. Shukran. Ahsant. طويلة. Should be a ta. شكرا. طيب. لماذا استخدمنا طويلة بدلا من طويل? Why is it طويلة in the feminine, not in the masculine? Sama? Because the word tree is feminine. One of the best ways to get the knowledge to stick is to ask the same questions over and over. Inshallah, you'll see it. If you don't see it today, you're going to get it later on. In Arabic, they have to agree. If the word is masculine, everything connected to it has to be masculine. If it's feminine, everything connected to it has to be feminine. Number sadisata ashar, 16. Who can read with a loud voice so everyone can hear? Hasanun, that's a good one. Hasanun insanun jamilun. Insanun should be a noon. Jamilun. Huwa tabibun. If you could translate this one, you could translate anyone on the page. Circle that. That's one of the hardest ones. Hasanun, insanun, jamilun, huwa. Huwa? Huwa. Huwa. What's my next word? Tabibun. If you could translate this one, anyone on the page is easy for you. Father Sheikh Abu Ali, say it again. MashaAllah, Hassan is a fine man. Huwa tabibun, and he is a doctor. Allahu Akbar. Our sister, Fadali. You can also put that. Remember the word. Sometimes they bring synonyms. Fine, beautiful, handsome. I don't know if you can, my English grammar is not the best. I don't know if you can say a male is beautiful. I don't know. If you can, that's fine. You can translate Instead of saying beautiful, maybe you can say handsome. If you can say beautiful to a male, beautiful fits. Fine, beautiful, handsome, talking about his physical. Hasanun, insanun, jamilun. If you had fine, our sister said beautiful. You had handsome, Jersey, cute. Tayyib, all that's synonyms. That's fine. Huwa tabibun. He is a doctor. Question number, trick question. Don't rush. Let's see who's paying attention. Where's Elijah? One of my favorite students of the class and not here today. Tayyib. Trick question. Let's see who deserves this question. طيب هو يعود إلى ماذا؟ هو goes back to what? He goes back to who? Goes back to what? To the doctor? Hassan? That's it? Everybody else? What about insanun jamilun? The man? Where does he go back to? Insanun, we got that. That's it. Hassan, we got Hassan. Everyone agree? Tabib, we got Tabib. Going back to the man Hassan. First benefit. The pronouns usually go before. They never come after. So a pronoun is not going to refer to someone that comes after it. It's going to usually refer to someone that comes before it. So let's take Tabib away. Usually pronouns refer to the last thing that was mentioned. Usually. That's not a condition. Usually pronouns refer back to the last thing that was mentioned. I saw Muhammad and Ali and he went to the store. Usually the he goes back to the last one I mentioned, but that's not a condition. So here, those that say Hassan are correct. He goes back to Hassan. Alhamdulillah. Hasanun, insanun, jamilun, huwa tabibun. Hassan is a good or beautiful, fine, handsome, cute, whatever you use there, all synonyms. Person, you could also say individual, that's another synonym. Huwa tabibun. Here, this is high level. Huwa is going to be the second subject in grammar. Who will be the mubtada'un al-thani, the second mubtada'. Right? We'll get there later, inshallah. Hasanun, insanun, jamilun. Hasanun will be the mubtada', insanun will be the khabar, jamilun will be the sifa, huwa will be the damirun, ya'udu ila hasan, wa huwa mubtada'un thani, tabibun the khabar to huwa. We'll mention that later, inshallah. Tayyib. Next sentence. Who can read with a loud voice? This one is an easy one. Everyone should have this. Who we didn't hear from, ya ikhwan? Bustan, al-bustanu ba'idun. You all should have this. And every question I say connected to it. As we said it, how many times? Al-bustanu ba'idun. Al-bustanu ba'idun. All of you got this one, ya ikhwan. Inshallah. Al-bustanu ba'idun. Man yutarjimuha. Who can translate? Mustafa. The orchard. MashaAllah. The orchard or the garden is far. You all should have that one. Ma huwa al-mawdu'? What's the subject of the sentence? Al-bustan is the mubtada'. Ba'idun is the khabar. Bustanun. Trick question. What number trick question we on? Trick question number 3. Don't rush. Ain al-mawsuf, ain al-sifa. Where's the mawsuf, samad, and where's the sifa? Al-bustan, where's the sifa? Ba'idun, mashallah. Where's the mawsuf, where's the sifa? You all agree? With samad, Ali agrees. Mustafa, indecisive. Abdul Malik, You agree? توافقوا معه? Sheikh Muslim, you agree? Agree? Our sisters, we have one madhab today. طيب, all of you are wrong. It's not always good to agree. Sometimes the crowd is running this way, you go the other way. That's from Islam sometimes. You have to be wise. طيب, remember, ya ikhwan, the mawsoof is what? Close. What's the mawsoof? Who does their homework? No. Mawsoof. It could be the mubtada'. What's the meaning of mawsoof? The word that's being described. Eh. Sometimes I think you just got to raise your voice some. If you said that, you were right. So here, there's no word that's being described. Trick question. So I always say, don't rush. طيب. Can a Muslim be a kafir at the same time? Don't rush. I got a lot of trick questions here. Can a Muslim be a disbeliever at the same time? Don't rush. Disconnected to belief. Can a Muslim be a disbeliever at the same time? Our sister says no. 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 Our sister? On what? Close. It does depend, but on what? The word disbelief, is there one meaning, one category? No. So it depends on what type of disbelief you're talking about. One type of word is called kufr, kufurun. They all mean disbelief, but it's different types of disbelief. So the answer is yes. A Muslim can be a Muslim and a disbeliever at the same time, depending on which category you're talking about. Ungratefulness in Islam is called kufr, disbelief. Sometimes you give your husband a gift, your wife a gift. The lady is making a meal. She says, here you go, Bismillah. The man says, this it? Come on. I've been in here all day. Just a little bit of rice? Billah, slams it down. You can say he just disbelieved in Allah. Not the disbelief that would take him outside of Islam. No. The disbelief of ungratefulness. The wife wakes him up for the salah. Hey, you're going to miss it. He says, get away from me. You could say he just disbelieved in Allah. He was ungrateful. You give someone a gift. In Islam, it's not about the size. It's not about the price. It's about the niyyah. Sometimes the greatest of gifts, you don't have no reward from it. What do you mean? I spent $1,000 on that, yahi? Yes. It's like you didn't do it. Why? Your intention is not there. It's about the intention, ya ikhwan. It's not always about the amount. It's not always about the size. You can read 1 page of Quran and get the reward like someone that read 10 pages of Quran. Or get a greater reward than someone that read 10 pages of Quran. How? He was showing off and you was being sincere. You memorized one hadith, he memorized the whole chapter. Your reward is greater. How is that? Your intention was more sincere. He was showing off doing it. He wants to be the sheikh. He wants the people to look at him. Hey, give me the key to the masjid. I vacuum, I open, I lock. This one did it for Allah's sake. So it's not about the size. Allah Ta'ala says in the ayah, Surah Al-Mulk, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Allah Ta'ala says, in order to test and try you, to see who from amongst you are the best in deeds. He didn't say have the most deeds. You can have the most of someone, and it can still be better. What does it mean, the best of deeds? The scholars of tafsir mean the actions in accordance with Islam, and he had the intention. He was more sincere. This sister gave $5 to the homeless. This one gave $500 to the homeless. The one that gave $500, perhaps her intention was greater. Her intention What's great? It's not about the size. It's about the niyyah. So it's not always about the size, ikhwan. So the man disbelieves. He was ungrateful. So you can be a Muslim and you can fall into ungratefulness, and that's kufr. That's ungrateful. That's the hadith when the woman, she asked for khul'. All of our wives got this hadith memorized, ikhwan. So, hadith is collected by Bukhari and Abu Dawood, narrated by Ibn Abbas. They call it the wife of Qais. She was married to Qais. She wanted the khul'. It's allowed to ask for khul'. No one can get offended there. Tayyib, what did she say to the Prophet? Alayhi salam. She said, Ya Rasulullah, uridu khula'an. I want a khul' from him. Wala ara bihi ba'san. And I don't see nothing wrong with him. Lakinni akhafu al-kufr. But I'm afraid for myself disbelief. Some scholars say his physical wasn't the best. Some scholars say. The lady said, I don't see nothing wrong with him. And one narration it says, وَلَا أَرَى عَيْبًا فِي دِينِهِ وَلَا خُلُقِهِ. One narration says, I don't see nothing wrong with his religion nor his character. For whatever the reason, the girl said, the sister said, وَلَكِنِّي أَكْرَهُ الْكُفْرَ. But I fear disbelief for myself. Some scholars, they say what she meant was that she wouldn't have the ability to be, she's going to be ungrateful. She's going to disbelieve in Allah if she stays there. So it's better for her to leave. So the Prophet turned to the man and said, turned to the woman and said, هَلْ تُرَدِّينَ عَلَيْهِ حَدِيقَةً. Are you going to return back the dowry to him, which was a garden? She says, yes. The Prophet turned to the man and said, خُذْهَا. Take it from the woman. The Prophet turned to the woman and said, خُذِي حَيْضَةً وَاحِدَةً. Take one menstrual cycle. Right. First of all, now we're talking about some fiqh. The way we ask for khulur nowadays, and I don't want no one to get offended, is wrong. The way we divorce each other nowadays, no one gets offended, is wrong. What's my proof to that? The Quran and Sunnah. Number one, this woman went to the Prophet of Allah. She didn't just go to the husband. I want a khulur, shukran, let me get all 25,000 of my jilbabs and all of my shoes. I'm out of here. She didn't do that. She went to the leader, the one that's in charge. A judge has to sit there. That judge was the Prophet of Allah. The woman went to the Prophet of Allah, ﷺ. The scholars differ over, is returning the wedding gift back to the man obligatory or not? Some say obligatory, some say recommended. They differ on how. The word that we're learning last week, hal. That hal, that's what the Prophet said to her. What did we learn about the hal? Not a condition, but he's Allahu Akbar. He's asking a question. The Prophet said, hal. He didn't command. Hal is a question. He said, hal turaddini alayhi hadiqa. Are you going to return back the wedding gift? Some scholars say, since he asked it, it's not obligatory upon her. If it was obligatory, he would have commanded it. That's strong. Other scholars say yes, but the fact that he mentioned it is a condition. So the woman asks for khulur. She knows what she's asking for. Her mind is there. Her intention is there. And she doesn't give the wedding gift back to the man. Most of the scholars say she's still his wife until she returns the wedding gift back. Why? Because the Prophet mentioned it. Other scholars, although they're the minority, they say no, because it's not obligatory upon her to give it back. So the scholars differ there. At any rate, going back to our word hal. See how Arabic is connected. Without Arabic, our understanding is going to be deficient. In Quran and in Sunnah, let's get back 2 more sentences, ya ikhwan, and then we're done. Sentence number 18, 2 words. Who can read with a loud voice? A louder voice? Malikun kabirun. Type 18. Malikun 19 or 18? 18. The number should be on the right. Malikun kabirun. Allahu Akbar. Man yutarjimuha, who can translate? A great king or big king. Malikun kabirun. Ain al-mawsuf, ain al-sifa. Where is the noun that's being described? Not a trick question. Malikun, mashallah, Abdul Malik. Which one? Mawsuf or sifa? You got it? Which one is it? Mawsuf or sifa? Mashallah. Accent. Abdul Malik. Where's the sifa? Where's Yusuf? I haven't heard Yusuf today. Where's the sifa? Yusuf. Labas. Kabir. Mashallah. You should have a big king, a great king. No problem. طيب, look carefully يا إخوان. ملك كبير. البستان بعيد. Look carefully, Samad. Look real good. They look similar, but they're not. البستان. ملك no alif wa lam. Alif wa lam. Malikun nakira, indefinite. Al-bustanu ma'rifa, definite. So the one that's definite, al-bustanu ba'idun, the garden. Malikun, a king. So, alif lam, this is the subject. Ba'idun is the khabar. There's no mawsuf, there's no sifa. They don't agree. Remember going back to your principle that we learned in the first week or so. If they agree completely, one is the mawsuf, one is the sifa. If something is missing, one thing, no alif lam. Alif lam, no alif lam. Masculine, yes. Masculine, yes. Singular, yes. Singular, yes. But one thing is missing. There's no alif lam. So he doesn't agree. Here, they agreed totally. Nakira, yes. Tanween. Tanween. Masculine, masculine. Singular, singular. 3 for 3. If they agree totally, one is the mawsuf, one is the sifa. One is missing. One is the mubtada, one is the khabar. No. This one is not complete. There's no khabar there. We'll get to that 10 lessons down, inshallah. There are some things that are needed for the sentence to be complete. Right now, this is a phrase. If you say Dhuhr prayer, you're still waiting for me. But I say to you right now, Dhuhr prayer. If you know English, you're like, come on, ya akhi, Dhuhr prayer what? What about Dhuhr prayer? If I say, hey, you're like, hey, what? Right? You guys with me? Same thing in Arabic. If you say, give me an example. إِذَا مَشَيْنَا, if we go what? Yeah, you have to complete it. If we go to the masjid, now it's complete. If I say when the imam comes, if you know some English, you're like, when the imam comes, what? Right? So this one is not a complete sentence. A big king. A big king what? If I say a blue pen, what about the blue pen? A blue pen what? So you're still waiting. Anytime you're still waiting, it's not complete. If you're not waiting, the garden is far. That's a complete sentence. You understand, Sama? Last sentence. One more, 19. Who can recite? Loud voice. Malikatun Jamilatun. Oh, that's for our sisters. They all should get this one, ya ikhwan. Malikatun. Oh. If they don't get this one, they're banned from next week's class. Malikatun Jamilatun. Oh, if they don't get this one right, we'll see them next weekend. Oh, the weekend after. Malikatun Jamilatun. Oh, one of our mothers. A beautiful queen. Samad, this is just like that one. It's not complete. What about a beautiful queen? A beautiful queen what? A beautiful queen is nice. Alhamdulillah. A beautiful queen is beneficial. Alhamdulillah. But it has no khabar. There's no predicate there. Tayyib. Question. One of our two new brothers. What's your names, ikhwan? Rashid. Salim. I know Rashid. I know Salim. Tayyib. Now I know another Rashid. Another Rashid. Salim. What does Rashid is from what origin? Your name is from what root? Rashid. What's the origin of Rashid? Rashada. Good. Rashada means to guide. Salim is from what origin? Salima. Salima means to be free from error, free from default, free from blemishes, to be perfect, to be sound. Salim, not sincere, that's akhlasa. Salima also means to be safe, to be peaceful. طيب. This question is for our beloved brother Rashid. لماذا استخدمنا جميلة في المؤنث? Why do we use Jamila in the feminine? But that's how we know it. But why is this word feminine? Huh? Describing what word? Malika, and that word is Malika, or masculine or feminine? Feminine. So if the word that's being described is feminine, the sifa has to be feminine. Accent. طيب. Salim. How do you know this word is feminine? Look at it carefully. There's something there that lets you know it's feminine. What is it? You got it? Is it the meme, lam, kaf, or this thing here? The ta marbuta. If you see this, most of the words that have that are feminine. Memorize that. Last question for who else didn't get a question? Mustafa, is every word that has ta marbuta feminine? The answer is no. That's a general guide. That's a general guide. It can be broken. طيب. Our first question we asked the group, why do we learn Arabic? Who memorized that sentence yet? I know we don't do our homework, but maybe one day. Sheikh Abdul Wali, why do we learn Arabic? To learn understand, to have the correct understanding of the Quran and Sunnah, to understand the Quran and Sunnah with the correct understanding. طيب. Last point of today, what's the correct understanding? How do you know if your understanding is correct? The understanding that agrees with the companions. What about the companions differ? How do you determine? Not the consensus. I'll give you another point. The word, this is the strongest, is opinionated. When the ulama say this is the strongest, that's his opinion, that's the strongest. Sheikh Albani in your prayer class, I don't know if our brother Abu Layla is going to go over this or not. You're going to go over one of the best arguments in the salah. What is it? There are many. One of my favorite. Hey, what do you do when you come up from the ruku' with your hands? The sister says, Sami Allahu liman hamida. What does she do next with her hands? Put them on her chest. طيب. What else can she do? On her sides. Which one is the most correct? Which one is the most correct? Someone said it all depends on what? What's the best? On the chest, on the sides? They both are sound? Chest, chest, طيب. I'll give you a few benefits. Number one, there's nothing specific. Don't take my word. Do your research. There's nothing specific of what the Prophet of Allah did with his hands after ruku'. No hadith mentions the word ba'ad ruku', after ruku'. That's why the scholars differ. There's nothing specific. Not in Bukhari, not in Muslim, not in Tirmidhi, not in Sahih, not in Abu Dawud, not in Ibn Majah, not in Al-Bayhaqi, not in the Muwatta. There's nothing specific to say, what did the Prophet of Allah do after? You're looking for the word after ruku', and the hadith is not there. So they differ. When you don't have something specific, what do you look for now? Before qiyas, you don't have nothing specific. What do I look for? Huh? Not the jumla, not the sentence, not the ijma, not the consensus. If I don't have nothing specific, where do I go? To something that's general. If I don't have something specific, I'm not done. Do I have something general? The principles can be either general or specific. That's it. So there's nothing specific of what the Prophet of Allah did after. None of the companions mention in detail what he did after ruku'. None of them. So the ones that put their hands here don't have nothing specific to support. Nothing. The ones that put their hands here don't have nothing to support specifically. So I have nothing specific. What do I go now in my research? Something general. Do I have something general to put my hands to the sides? Is there anything in the Quran and Sunnah generally that the Prophet's hands were ever at his sides? The answer is no. Never. Is there something general that the Prophet of Allah's hands was on his chest? The answer is yes. So this is why many scholars say this is the strongest. There's nothing specific to support with detail after ruku' to put his hands here. Not one. There's nothing in detail to support after ruku' putting your hands here. So the one that put his hands here has nothing specific to support. The one that put his hands here has nothing specific to support. But you have general hadith to support this. You don't have general hadith to support this. Sheikh Al-Albani says, rahimahullah, and this is going to blow your mind. Our beloved Sheikh Nasr, he says, to place your hands on the right, on your chest, is a innovation. Sheikh Ibn Baz, who memorized way more than Sheikh Al-Albani, rahimahullah, there's no comparison between Sheikh Al-Albani's memory regarding hadith and Sheikh Bin Baz's memory regarding hadith. Sheikh Ibn Baz is stronger memorizing. Sheikh Al-Albani is stronger knowing the chains of hadith, knowing the men of the chains. There's only a few like Sheikh Al-Albani in that regard. Sheikh Ibn Baz says, Sheikh Uthaymeen says, Sheikh Ibn Baz says, to place your hands on your chest is a sunnah. We'll say that again. Sheikh Al-Albani says bid'ah, the same action. Sheikh Uthaymeen, Sheikh Ibn Baz, our Sheikh, they say sunnah. How can sunnah innovation be the same? They both say what? Going to Sheikh Abdul Wali's point, they both say this is the what? This is the, when Sheikh Al-Albani says this is a bid'ah, he says after that, and this is the strongest opinion. When Sheikh Ibn Baz says this is a sunnah, Sheikh Uthaymeen said this is sunnah, after he says that, he says what? And this is the strongest opinion. So the word, this is the strongest opinion, is opinionated. That's the scholar saying, without saying, in my opinion, this is the strongest opinion. You guys with me? You guys will. The thing you're going to do with knowledge, Ikhwan, as we mentioned last week, Islam is built upon proofs. Don't get stuck with this sheikh said, that sheikh said. We love the ulama. If you can, turn the page. What's the proof? Why is Sheikh Al-Albani calling this a bid'ah? Oh, come on, ya Ikhwan. He's saying because there's no specific proof that the Prophet did it. There's no specific proof that the companions did it. You guys with me? So in the meaning, you could call it that. No problem. The only difference is that if that's an innovation, then this has to be an innovation also. Because there's no specific proof that the Prophet did this also. You'll learn that, inshallah, in your prayer class. May Allah bless you all. So we'll stop there, Ikhwan. For homework tomorrow, we're going to start the English to Arabic. So we only have one night. Let's do the first 5 at least. One word left, one sentence left. Al-Malikatu Jamilatun. Al-Malikatu Jamilatun. Who translated that one? The queen is beautiful. The queen is beautiful. Number 20 should be, the queen is beautiful. For homework, we have 20 sentences. If you can do all 20 tonight, Allahu Akbar. If not, try the first 5, and we'll go over the remaining ones tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. The English to Arabic is actually a little harder, and Allah knows best. So what? We're going to go to exercise 4. Look on page 32. Exercise 432, 1 to 5. You have all night to do so. At least try to do the first 5, inshallah. Right? Yeah, so now they give us the English sentences. They want us to say them in Arabic. The first we did Arabic to English. Now we do English to Arabic. Anything else, Ikhwan? One more. Tfadal.
You said at the beginning you were saying a sister would be outside the masjid after probably listening to a cookbook, and she would repeat something in English, and she said Allah or the messenger said it. It would be a sinner.
If I quote the Quran, may Allah forbid, and I say Allah said, but I don't say it the way Allah said it, I have to say this is the meaning or this is the translation. I can't just say Allah says and then say all praise belongs to Allah. I just lied. I have to say Allah said this is the meaning of what Allah said, or the rendering into English, or the translation. That's